Hi everyone, welcome to another Sunday Nights with Faye Seidler. It's me, Faye. It's Sunday night, and we're doing news. So the first story is going to be about me again, because next week is going to be our fundraiser for the Raise the Trans Flag event. This fundraiser is going to be me playing Elden Ring on Twitch, and I will be doing a marathon run starting from scratch and then beating all the major bosses, completing the DLC in the main game. The catch is that I will contribute $5 every time that I die. I will contribute $10 for every remembrance boss that I beat. That's fun. But what you can do is you can actually pledge money to make the run harder for me. So you can contribute $20, and that might mean that I can't use as many healing items for certain boss fights, or that I can't have armor, or that in one way or another, the run will just become more difficult. I will likely die more, and then have to pay more money. So that's kind of the fundraiser that we're doing. All the money that I'm getting from fundraising will be given as mutual aid to the trans individuals who participate within the event, as well as trans-serving youth organizations across the state. I still have to reach out to some of them to see where and how they're able to take money, but it's not like a nonprofit. This is money that I'm collecting to give out to people as mutual aid. So if you'd like to donate to the event to make my life harder, that would be fun. To get into actual stories this week, tomorrow is going to be the deadline for the Youth Intern position at the LG+ Summit. This is a paid position for younger folks to get involved with organizing a conference. It could be very useful for folks who want to learn more about how this work exists, to put it on a resume or to put it on a college application to show the work you've done in the community while also getting paid for it. You pretty much just have tonight though, so if you have a youth who you think has been waiting on it or would be involved, you should let them know. I want to let folks know that on March 22nd, that'll be again next Sunday at 1 p.m. there's going to be a Never Give Up showcase by Elska Photography, LLC. Hopefully I'm saying that correct. This will be a showcase of art in support of the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, Out of the Darkness Walk, and Power to Be. So you can attend this to appreciate the art and support an incredibly important cause that is suicide prevention in our state. Further events coming up, I want to let you know on the 17th and 20th at 7 p.m. the FM Derby Girls in Fargo-Moorhead are doing their spring recruitment. If you've ever been interested in Derby, this is the time to get involved, to learn more about it. It's an awesome opportunity to get more physically involved, to be part of a community, to get stress relieved by getting active. It's a really awesome environment for folks that I really recommend if you have any interest at all to get involved with. So again, the 17th and the 20th, you're able to do that for our local Derby. There are Derbies across the state, so you can also check in with your local community to see if there's a opportunity for you there. I also want to let people know, for folks who have youth who like to write, the deadline is March 27th for the PBS Kid Writer Contest. I highly encourage this for any youth who likes to put pen to paper. I think that even working on this stuff and submitting something is rewarding in itself, and it's a goal people can set and be fulfilled to have done it. And maybe they can, be selected as a winner for the contest. That's good too. So that's something to let you know about for the youth that you know who like writing. In content warning news about tragedy and awfulness, maybe I should do that more often. The Lemkin Institute says that the anti-trans genocide efforts within the U.S. have met another red flag. I know that sounds very extreme, but I unfortunately can assure you that a lot of the ways that we dehumanize trans people are flagging a lot of the risks that we have for genocidal movements. Some ways to understand this is the political rhetoric that seeks to eliminate transgenderism or calling trans individuals as a class of people dangerous or mentally ill maybe sets up the stages to further harm and abuse this community. There is a lot of very strong evidence for trans individuals at extreme risk within the United States, and we have seen that effort for denying medication for not just youth, but now adults. I think that there's a lot of people who have an idea of what they think being trans is in their head, and they often imagine an older trans lady who's maybe not doing that well in her life, who maybe has a lot of masculine features, maybe has a lot of facial hair, and is probably having some kind of crisis. That is usually how you see the image of trans people in certain spaces online. But trans people are a diverse group of folks that belong in every demographic. They have various degrees of success. Some are very conventionally attractive, some are not. Some are very talented at particular jobs. Some are the best fit for their jobs, some are not. There's no one way trans people exist. And I think that unfortunately a lot of people only see this demographic in this really caricaturized way. And I am a trans person. I do stuff like this. I've won awards for the work I do, trying to help people and increase hope in our communities. But unfortunately, I think that people don't think about me when they think about transness, and that has propelled a lot of these really dehumanizing attacks and have done terrible things to increase violence to trans individuals, increase the minoritized stress, and increase suicidality in this community. It's just very observable when you look through it. So I want folks to understand that this is a risk that trans individuals often deal with and are navigating in our current nation. While the Lemkin Institute is a relatively new institute looking at this, it is worth knowing that other groups that work in anti-hate also have charted this. It's not just this one organization. It's pretty clear when you follow the ways that people can be dehumanized that this is happening to trans people. And to segue that into good news, I think, I wrote a story about how much hope that I have in the world because of my work with suicide prevention. I uplifted a lot of the partners in suicide prevention, but the key thing that gives me hope in this world today is how much we actually care about mental health in ways that we didn't as kids. And I think that is something that is a protective factor that is going to make things go a lot better, hopefully, as more youth grow up. So I have an article talking about all that. I also talk about the Suicide Prevention Summit happening, the third one, April 14th in Fargo. We've done so much work in suicide prevention that never existed when I was a youth and struggling with suicide. So I genuinely do have a lot of hope despite all the harm that we see in our society, in our world. We are slowly creating foundations to heal. It's not today, but I hope that we get there, and I think that we can. One of the things that can give people hope is volunteering. Volunteering is not necessarily just a selfless activity to help other folks out. You can do it because it makes you feel better about the world. You can do it because it makes you feel part of communities. Volunteering should be a mutually beneficial situation where everyone there benefits from it. And one of the ways you can get involved is Meals on Wheels, that is looking for more volunteers in the Fargo area, but I'm sure there are other opportunities across the state. Let's say work with the Great Plains Food Bank. There's a ton of ways to volunteer in any kind of community that you're in. I recommend looking and searching for them and getting involved if you feel alone or bad about the world. I want to let you know the Grand Forks Public Library has opened an audio recording booth that will allow people to go in and record things like podcasts. I think this is really cool because it showcases that our libraries are an evolving institute that are meeting the needs of the populations that they serve. I think we often think about libraries as institutes of learning, and they very much are, but they are also fundamentally pieces of our community. And they are composed of and reflect that. And they reflect the opportunities that we hope all people can have to get invested and involved and to explore their own arts and hobbies and to learn and to engage in whatever way makes sense for them. So it's a cool thing that the Grand Forks Public Library is doing. I always try to celebrate libraries where I can because I am a big fangirl of libraries. I think that's evident in my work. Well, there's a resource put out by Parents Lead. This is an organization that I particularly love because they do so much work for helping parents in ways that feel very real and grounded. They have a packet about suicide prevention response kits for parents, particularly in North Dakota. That's a pretty long and engaging pamphlet. It's like 40-some pages, but I think it's very important for folks who have youth or who work with youth directly to check and look through. I think there's a lot of material, like you can find the same stuff from American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. You can find isolated things created from different organizations. I don't think there's a right packet of information. I think they all help us to just sit with this topic and find information about it and center ourselves, because there's never going to be a right response to this kind of tragedy, but we just figure out how we can process it. We prepare ourselves to do it. We utilize the resources that exist in our community. We lean on friends and family. But we just do our best. And I think every packet like this is an opportunity for us to just engage with and sit with this topic and be ready for it when it happens or when it's happening. I want to highlight some research looking at the summary of health and well-being in North Dakota. I don't have much to say about this. It's kind of what you'd expect looking into it, but I do want to use it as an opportunity to highlight ND Compass because they do phenomenal work. If you want to get information about everything happening in any individual district, they have information on that and anything else you can think of demographically. So I just want to promote them and check them out. I want to highlight COMET training that offers support for others who are struggling. This is kind of a peer support metric. It's something that's coming out of Minnesota right now. It's something that you can take online. They're also interested in train the trainers and have an opportunity for that in Moorhead coming up in the summer. This is another model that people can utilize, and I just want to highlight that it exists. And if you're interested in peer support approaches for giving each other mental health support, this is a new thing that's coming out and seems like it's based on a lot of research and good evidence. I want to let you know that Flourishing Families is hosting a series of workshops in April for protecting children, covering a lot of different topics. If you're interested at all in the topic of protecting youth or making sure our world is safer for youth, I cannot highlight the work Flourishing Families does enough in it. They are inspirational in the ways that they are trying to keep our youth across the state safe. I want to highlight a letter to the editor talking about some of the ways that we are seeing cuts to education programs all across the state from underfunding education. This topic gets a little messy because of how our lawmaking body puts money into private schools or to homeschooling at a detriment to public schools. They will say that these are separate funds, but the fact is some funding from our government that could have gone to public education is going to other sectors. How you want to slice it up, I'm not going to cover in my show tonight. That's more than a minute I want to give to this story. But I will say that we are seeing repercussions, and often it's arts that are being cut. These are vital programs for youth to learn not just about music or how to play an instrument, but to be creative in ways that makes them more engaged with their school, in their community, in their friends, in their family. Art is not simply a child learns how to play a saxophone. It is a child learns how to create music, how to create art, how to do that with others and to make something more beautiful together from the sound of an orchestra. Like, that is what art can do. It is vital and important for kids growing up. Kids are not just there to learn the math and the science and then get the job for 9 to 5. We are humans, and it would be good if schools reflected that, and our schools are being hurt because they aren't and can't due to funding cuts that we are seeing all across the state. We need more money in education. We need more funding. We need to support arts everywhere we can because it supports people, supports being human. I want to let you know that Great Plains Food Bank served over 160,000 people last year, and this is something to keep in mind, that there is a huge need for food in North Dakota, and this is a result of a lot of the income inequality and cutting of funding to services, not just from our state level, but from the national level right now. People are not doing well. If you have some indicator that the economy is doing well that you're looking at, and it's saying, economy never been better, you are not looking at an accurate assessment of how life is working for the majority of people who cannot afford healthcare, who cannot afford childcare, who cannot currently afford to eat without some kind of support. Our systems are collapsing, and until we actually meaningfully address them, then we are going to continue to suffer. We need serious adults leading some of these discussions. We need to listen to the experts that are working in food scarcity, who are working in education or public health, and not just a guy who got elected, That's me, I guess, to say some stuff about that. And in my final story tonight, the Democrats in North Dakota are doing better than ever. They had one of the most successful conventions they've had in years, and everyone is stoked for them to have a competitive election. That is good for every political party, because the more competitive our elections are, that means the better your candidates have to be to win, or the more concessions they have to make to the voting populace, because we all exist in the state, right? Like, even if you win as a Republican, you have Democrats in your district. If you win as a Democrat, you have Republicans in your district. It would be nice if we didn't just ignore people that aren't in our party. So this is exciting for everyone. I think that we have more of a competitive Democratic Party in a state that has been incredibly one-partied for quite some time. I'm nonpartisan. I do support particular candidates if I think they're the best, but I don't particularly care about the party behind their name. I'm very open about that, and I'm someone who respects people for who they are and what they do. I do hope that the folks who are currently running for office do plan to continue to work in their communities and continue to be civically involved, even if they don't win their race coming up, because I think that what we need in North Dakota isn't someone motivated if they win. We need someone motivated across their life. So I hope we have more candidates like that, and it's not just we got really excited this year and then it's going to be the same thing 2 years from now. So that's just all I want to say about that. But I'm excited. I think it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. That's what I have for you tonight. Please check in with my newsletters or my website for any of the information. I have a lot more than just this, as always. If you'd like to support my work and make sure this still happens, this show is not funded by anyone except for people who are supporting my Patreon, really. So this is a show that I do because I think it's valuable for people to have information. And the more that people know about these things and can help themselves or their community out, the better. So that's why this show exists. If you like it and wanted to keep on existing, namely that I have a roof and an internet connection and all that, you can give money to me. I even have merch. Yay. And exciting news is I'm even upping my podcast game. Check this out. Look at that. I can put this up. I can put this up here. Wait, I have something. I think I have something for this. Ah! Alright, that's like my show tonight. Yeah, everyone have a good night. Bye. Bye, everyone.